Mike, good morning. Thanks for joining the committee. We've got you for a 5-minute presentation this morning, so I'll hand over to you to begin.
Thank you. It's an honour to be here to be able to present to you today. I'm here before the committee because I am gravely concerned over New Zealand's future democracy, racial harmony and prosperity. I want my children and grandchildren to be able to be one under the law and to have a future of equality in the land of their birth. Since the 1980s, I have witnessed the steady erosion of democracy, a reduction in prosperity, and increasing racial division like never seen before. The latter increasing exponentially over the last 7 years. In 1908, my grandmother was literally starved out of Southern Ireland and headed alone as an uneducated and destitute 14-year-old to New Zealand. She endured much personal hardship, but educated herself and crucially worked hard to become a successful business person, running retail stores, small hotels and boarding houses, and this was in times when banks would not lend to women. She was somewhat ahead of her time and succeeded in what would have then been a patriarchal society. Her hardship galvanised her determination and her attitude for a better future. I share this with you because not once did I hear her complain about her plight that forced her out of her homeland. She could have looked back to the unfair way the English had treated the Irish, dwelt on that and continually sought remediation and encouraged following generations to make this their highest pursuit and harbour this as well. But her way was forward and not allowing herself to be a victim of the past. She made a good life for herself and her family regardless of the cards she was dealt. I'm not for 1 minute espousing that grievances of the past should not be pragmatically addressed. However, the current trajectory of forever looking backwards has created a nation of racial division, victimhood, and ongoing settlement dependence. It has resulted in an ever-creeping differential treatment and privileges depending on your ancestry. History clearly evidences that this is not a recipe for a united and prosperous nation going forward. Citizens should be treated on a needs basis, not on race. Unless we're all equal under the law and treated with the same care and opportunities, we will never be a successful nation like we once were. New Zealand is at a tipping point, and this Treaty Principles Bill is needed now more than ever to set the foundation right for a cohesive and prosperous nation. The vague status quo of leaving it to the courts and unelected officials has proven not to work for all Kiwis. It has resulted in an unrealistic sense of racial entitlement and national disharmony. If we haven't been able to resolve the past and been able to shut the door on the Treatment Settlement process after 50 years, then something is seriously wrong with the process. It cannot continue indefinitely. It's time to set a sunset so we can all look forward and work harmoniously together. This is why we need strong political leadership to push through what is right for the best interests long-term of the entire nation. That may not please everyone, but without it, the future is very dim. There is currently a disconnect between what the nation wants and what the politicians think. Politicians have their heads in the sand if they think this will solve itself, and they ignore it at their electoral peril. 300 plus submissions underline the seriousness of this constitutional issue. I will share with you this analogy. I see New Zealand as akin to a big family. Now consider what happens to a family when siblings are treated differently or one is favoured by the parents. You end up with a dysfunctional family that is divided and often destroyed by jealousy and an unjustified sense of unfairness. This is exactly what is happening within New Zealand society right now, disharmony and division, primarily as a result of race-based privileges and different treatment. For New Zealand to be successful in the future, we cannot continue in the way we have for the last 50 years. We need to help break the cycles of victimhood and dependence on the state. Give a man a fish and he will be fed for a day. Teach him to fish and he will never be hungry again. That is the space and the direction New Zealand needs to be heading in. We are all under the law, all one under the law and need to be, or the country will become an unhappy, racially divided Pacific backwater with the continuation of the loss of our greatest asset. That is the bright and prosperous who will rightfully flee this land for better opportunities and equality. Unity or division, we are at the crossroads. This bill should be allowed to pass to referendum and let the nation as an entirety decide democratically once and all its destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Look, that's perfectly timed, well on 5 minutes. So that's the end of the session. So on behalf of the committee, just want to acknowledge you for being with us and for your presentation. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.